tonight at a cinema that isn't exactly close to my house, I got to check out Fly, the IMAX Experience. On IMDb, this is just simply titled Fly. Knew nothing about it, except from, of course, it was going to be an IMAX. And I heard that it was a documentary that is going to be on National Geographic, as I found out, on September 24th. But what did I think of this one? This is certainly interesting. Yeah, let's get into it. Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome to the channel if you're brand new here, or if you're coming back, thank you for stopping by once again. I really do appreciate it. So this Fly documentary, it is directed by Christine Klusia and Schwal Schwarz. Apologies if I've got any of those first or surnames wrong. And this focuses on the extreme sport of base jumping, and the documentary follows along with several different couples, how they balance their life and relationships, all in favour and passion for this sport. Now, I'm not sure if base jumping exists here in the UK, because I'll be honest and quite frank, I don't know anything about it whatsoever. But after seeing this, I do now know about it, but I didn't research if it's done in the UK. It probably is, but hey, I don't know. If you're a base jumper yourself, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of the sport, this documentary, and maybe how you got into it yourself. So, going into it, as I said in the intro, I didn't know anything about it whatsoever. I read up a little bit after I checked it out, and what I can say is this is a fascinating watch, but also kind of frustrating at the same time. Firstly, let's start off with some positives. I think the cinematography, how this was shot, was really well done. I did also like the fact how it was partly edited. I will touch on and edit it in a negative, but for the positive part of the edited, I like the fact that we did see some flashbacks, but it wasn't the case of being like, oh hey, this happened in the 90s, okay, now let's cut to present day, now let's go back to this time. No, as it focused on a couple, it might show a little bit their backstory as we have some and dialogue being delivered and them telling their stories. It showcased the relationship, it showed us like the beginnings, it showed like a couple getting married and how they were at that present time. But also this doesn't just focus on base jumping in America or Utah, Brazil. It also shows us in like Greece and Norway too. So I like that there was a lot of variety, a lot of different countries, but the same sport just exists, but maybe done in landscapes. Architecture, of course, is going to be slightly different, and seeing all that being explored throughout this hour and 50 so runtime, I really did enjoy that aspect of Fly. I think the IMAX sound, because if you're wondering, okay, well, is IMAX actually worth it for this? I would personally say yes, simply because the sound was fantastic as always in IMAX, but just like the whoosh and like the whish, like the swooping sounds of the air as these fly suits are being just expanded, as of course they take the jump, and just the environmental sounds to this overall were worth it in those moments of the jumps alone. I think, of course, it's going to stand out when you're watching it on your TV or however you're going to check this out at some point, but in that IMAX experience, I think it was really cool to have that. Everything else in it, yeah, you know, picture quality, everything was definitely a lot better, but I'd say the sound part for me is what really sold me on that experience after I got finished watching Fly. I also liked hearing about the stories of the people involved. We don't get huge backstories into like day one, how they started and like how they're up to the present day, but we get to most part where it tells us like how the relationship formed, how they met each other, their passion, and how they met someone who's also into this base jumping. But the fact that this isn't just like a hobby for a lot of these people, this is their way of life, and this is how they travel around different places on the road and just go and do base jumping and enjoying what they do, but also the way that they kind of view death, I guess, as well, because there's a very important line that is presented throughout this in the movie, that if someone passes away due to a jump, where they are like, well, hey, look, you know, if our time comes, it's come, but I've died and being happy, enjoyed what I'm doing, or people giving up their lives to be happy in the form of base jumping. So I really appreciate that aspect, and it was a really refreshing, eye-opening experience to hear how someone's passion and love for that has really inspired all their other life choices. So there's a lot to comment here, a lot of serious moments that I found interesting, or I was like surprised by one or two moments because I didn't expect it. Can't tell you for spoilers, but if I'm gonna go into the negatives, where I mentioned before about finding this a little bit frustrating, the part for me that was frustrating the most is, again, me personally, as someone who didn't know about base jumping, I would have liked this documentary to have actually shown some full base jumps from beginning all the way up to the end, because they had an hour and 50-minute runtime, nearly 2 hours, to give us that jump, but we don't get it. And it's not as if they don't have the technology or how it's shot with the cinematography to not do it, because there's shots you can see the drone is flying overhead, or these base jumpers have got a GoPro onto them on top of like their helmet, or on kind of like a chest cam, so they could have easily done it, because we get like snippets throughout where clearly shows they have got that footage, but they decide to cut away. So give you an instance, it'll show them at the top, okay, they might be over the top of a cliff, whatever, they jump, we get them kind of like a quarter way down the journey, and then it just cuts the footage and it'll talk and show that person talking about that jump. And I'm like, okay, it's cool to hear their experience, and that's great if you're going to do that every now and then, hear about their own personal experience, how they felt at the moment with that jump. But as someone who is watching this and who should be like really engrossed and soaked in and be like, oh god, you know, like the fear of heights maybe coming into me. I'm not really afraid of heights, but I could have maybe got that if I experienced those emotions. But it's kind of like they cut away from the emotions and tensions in that time, and I'm just like, I want to see this from the start to the end. I don't want to go on YouTube after watching this, you know, documentary and saying that I want to watch this in this documentary, but you don't really get that, and this happens quite a lot throughout, and it ultimately left me kind of frustrated as to why we couldn't just get one single base jump even right from the beginning up until it ends. And I just didn't understand the logic for that editing and the cinematography choices. So yeah, overall, Fly out of 5. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Solid 3 out of 5. I think it's a recommendation. I would definitely implore you guys, if you like this sort of thing or you want to try something different in terms of documentary, to give it a chance. But I don't know if, like me, you might feel a little bit left frustrated. But thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you're not a member of Patreon, you can join today from only £2 per month. Links down below in the description box. Big thanks to all these awesome legends who are subscribed to Patreon. In the meantime, you can check out these movie reviews of mine that you may have missed of 2 kind of fairly new movies at this point in time. But till next time, I'll see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.